So, alright, today we'll be talking about Jackie Chan. Now, why? What does that have to do with personal development? And why Jackie Chan? Well, Jackie Chan is one of my... See, a lot of people grew up watching Bruce Lee, and he did too. I mean, any other like martial arts like Donnie Yen, you know, the one who was in Ip Man 1 and 2 and 3. And of course they grew up and they idolized Bruce Lee, right? But Bruce Lee wasn't my my idol. But it wasn't so much. I like the way he acted though. It was like, wah! You know, Bruce Lee will go, wah! And you start making sound, wah! You know. But no, my idol is Jackie Chan because he's truly amazing, and you probably know that he is amazing. And see, I held in my hands a couple of video you might recognize. Tuxedo, the Tuxedo. And of course, this great hit. I love this one. The Legend of Drunken Master, Jackie Chan, Mr. Nice Guy, and Rumble in the Bronx, right? And what this had to do with Jackie Chan? Now, for a couple years ago, a while back, I believe that Jackie Chan has so much talent that I believe that, I don't know, I look up to this guy so much that I didn't think that, I mean, if you think about it, what does he do? He act, and he's a movie star, or, you know, and then he also can sing, and he also speaks many languages, you know. He speaks Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, I think. He speaks, I think other language too, but I realized when I was listening to his video, because this had to do with this great book that I will do a book review on it. This great book, what is it, is that when it comes to talent, right? So many of us, of course, I'm speaking to people who believe in talent, and of course there are many people who believe in talent that is whether you got or you don't got, right? Well, I can disagree, and we can like come together and talk about it, because if you think about it, yes, let's say that people do have talent, but the problem with that is, let's say, were they born that way, or were there people, when it comes to talent, they kind of romanticize how things actually are, right? When it comes to talent, like, you know, I'm trying to bring all this together. The reason why is Jackie Chan is the way Jackie Chan is, you know, he can do amazing stuff, and I look up to him. He's funny too, in a way. When he, you know, make his movie, it's funny. But I realized something about him, that he's so humble. He have so many things that make you see in awe that, wow, this guy, he's truly humble. Why? Because when I saw his video on how he became the way he is. Now, Jackie Chan didn't became this way. He actually deliberately practice, you know, like for instance, he didn't speak English, you know. In his video, he was interviewed by some guy, but I don't remember. But I watched the whole thing. It was an hour long, and it amazed me that I remember he do have fear when he was starting out. You know, when he was a nobody, when he didn't had the acting skill, he wasn't, you know, he wasn't. See, most people see the Jackie Chan today, but we never actually saw who he was, you know. How did he became Jackie Chan? How did he became successful? You know, most people never actually uncovered that story. You know, I did. I'm glad that I watched this video. It was so inspiring that, you know, when he was with his dad, he was in some country, I can't remember, but they were all speaking English, and he couldn't speak English, and he was so scared to speak. You know, a lot of Asian who transfer to their country to here, they're afraid to speak, you know, and that they're afraid to embarrass. That's why they don't speak. But when it comes to it, I remember Jackie Chan said he went to the store, he wanted to buy the food, but he couldn't speak English. But then he would try to point this, and I remember he learned how to speak English. It didn't become naturalist. And then when it comes to talent, we see that this guy Jackie Chan is so great, but it's because he practiced. Like acting or directing. Like he wanted to direct movies and produce movies, but he didn't get that way. He actually practiced. Most people say he couldn't do that. He was afraid. He was a stuntman for. He was also in Bruce Lee. Enter the Dragon, and he was struggling, and they say he can't do it. But no matter how much he get criticized, ridiculed by people, but he kept going. He kept practicing because he's always curious. So in life, I think most people aren't curious. Most people are so into their subject. Like for instance, if you study certain subject, like let's say psychology. I'm not bashing on psychology. You study psychology, that's all you know. But you have to branch out. You have to become a curious person. Now, when it comes to talent, right? They say talent is you have or you haven't. For me, I don't have talent as people. I wasn't born with the gift of the A student or the smartest student. I mean, I did had honor roll when I was in 6th grade, middle school, and I mean, I still had certificate of hard worker, but still, that's not, for me, I wasn't the good student. But I think Will Smith said, all my favorite CEOs said, talent, he always take talent. And Will Smith said, talent you have naturally, right? But this one, the book talked about, right? But I'm not beating on, I love Will Smith. But skills is developed by hours and hours by beating on your craft, beating on your day after day. But it's not just enough to have the skill, right? It's not just enough. It's not just enough to have experience, right? It's just not enough to. So because this talk about how they have Malcolm Gladwell talk about 10,000 hours, right? You can put 10,000 hours in, but it's about that deliberate practice, if you will. It's about making deliberate practice is like, I can give you a sample. When I was in 6th grade, I remember everybody, typing was foreign to me, right? Computers. I thought that somehow magically that I can type faster. I don't know, for some reason. I remember I was in a computer class and I didn't know how to type. I was so scared. I didn't know how to type. It was foreign. I didn't know the concept. And what happened was, 6th grade, I don't know. I just after that I kept pecking. So nothing was being built. Skill wasn't developed. I still consider typing as a skill. Like driving is a skill. Now, when it comes to that, when I was in boarding school, I remember I was in computer class, but I couldn't type. All I can do is peck, right? Because I still think pecking is the fast way, but it's not. There's a formula or a format where if you type, like if you set your finger and you can type fast that way, right? But it's about, you see, now so today, so I'm gonna put my future. Today I can type without looking, but I didn't get that way. People romanticize how it being done. So I remember I wanted to go home. Because I was in boarding school, I want to go home. I don't want to stay there. So what happened was, I was a newbie and I was new in there. New dorm. It was all new people over there, right? So while everybody, socialized, going out of the dorm, hanging out with friends, while I was serious, I wanted to practice. You will see me in the computer room practicing. I still didn't get it. It was so hard. I'll remember. I practiced day in and day out. I keep practicing, looking at the screen, practicing. They have like this thing where they teach you how to do the keyboard. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to train. I told myself I'm going to train my brain to actually memorize how to type, without looking. At first, I can type. First, I was typing with looking, right? I was looking like everybody else. I was looking, typing, looking. Until I figure out how to tell my brain to, I practice, where the ABC, all the letters are, and I type and I type, and I remember it was hard for me for typing, and I remember I keep typing and practice, and bam, I remember how to type. I type without looking. That day I was happy, but the moment I remember when I was moving up to a class where I finished the other class. That's basic for typing. The other class is like PowerPoints and Excels and Words and stuff like that, right? And I remember in order to move up a certain subject, I have to type at a certain speed, right? And I remember, oh my God, I plateaued. I couldn't type because if you think about it, you have to type without backspace. That's a little bit hard. And if you make a mistake, you have to do it again. You have no backspace, so it's a little bit hard. So I was typing, and I couldn't get it. I was there. I remember I was sleeping. I was like, "F this, I'm done." So I was sleeping, and I thought nobody noticed, but I was sleeping, and I was like, I slept there for a month. I couldn't do it. Until my teacher told me, like, you've been here, you've been doing this for a whole month. You had doing nothing. So she told me that, and then you know what? Then I said, okay. I keep typing, and what happened is, I actually done it. It's about that growth. I believe it's about it's about difficulty. It's about, you see, if you're just learning and you're not growing and you're not become in order to become the best, you have to practice a little bit harder each time, not just do it easy. What come naturally. Of course, they have strength versus weakness, but I'm talking about the skills. The skills is about, let's say you learn a certain skill first. Let's say computer typing, right? Typing skills, right? You learn it. That's it. But the problem is, if you want to type a certain speed, you have to make it a little bit difficult than before. That's just like any skills. You have to make it difficult so you can become more efficient. But in this book, it talk about you can get worse with experience. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. A lot of people have experience, but why aren't they getting where they want it to be? It's about developing to the point that you can become not just good, not just great, but excel in your field of expertise, right? Now, that's why I love Jackie Chan so much, When it comes to Jackie Chan, it doesn't matter how much difficulty that he has, he will always excel in his life. That's why you see him movie stars and stuff like that. So I think that because if you think about it, if a straight A is always getting straight A's and people keep telling them smart, I remember Bob Proctor always say, smart people, they don't make it ahead because they aren't improving themselves. They aren't, because I believe that most people think that intelligence is fixed, right? That's why they have the book called Mindset. It's by Carol or something like that. I don't know. I have to do a book review on that. But most people think it's mindset is fixed, instead of growth mindset, where people in society or as a whole, as a teacher, they think that your intelligence is fixed to the point that you can't actually develop your skills or knowledge. But you can. You know why? Because I was a special ed student. I thought I was stupid and I did mistakes. But they weren't mistakes as people. Mistakes are mistakes if you don't correct them. Mistakes are there for as you learn. It was a learning experience. Most people get it wrong. It isn't so much that you make mistakes. It's that most people are trained to think that failure are bad. Not necessarily so. If you listen to people, how many times that Thomas Edison failed. He failed a lot. And I think we shouldn't be afraid of failure. I was listening to Seth Godin talk, and he said he failed more than most. He failed a lot. He said if you keep failing, you will succeed. I know that I have failed a lot in my years of days. I failed more than most people. But I like to go against of what, not go against, but sometimes when people believe in something that I don't believe in. But I like open-minded people more than close-minded. Close-minded is hard because I believe it's more like confirmation bias. But anyway, I believe that the thing that you want to develop can be developed through not just 10,000 hours. What they say, 10,000 hours is like 10 years. Of course, you don't have to practice for 10,000 years to be good, but to be good enough, if that's what you want, if you want to become an expert or expertise, you have to practice to a level that's difficult, that's out of reach. So that's pretty much it for talent. I believe if I were to say Jackie Chan, he said no, I wasn't. No, I didn't. I don't know if he ever thought that he had talent. At first, everybody, if you look at him now, of course, people say he had talent. But if you look back at his life, if you go if we enter his, brain, he probably didn't have talent. No, but he practiced every day to get good. That's what you must do. Practice every day, but not just practice, but make it a little bit difficult each time. Make it more so that you can develop this honing your skills. Not honing your skill, only honing your skill. Become better and better. So you'll be hard to replace in the marketplace, or whether it's a job or something like that. Become good at what you do and you will be rewarded, right? So thank you for watching. I will probably do a book review. Subscribe to my channel, like my video. I'm doing personal development, book reviews and stuff like that. You got this. Talent is overrated. I'll see.